Hey guys, it's Nick from Pick'em MMA and I'm back with another UFC card this weekend, guys. UFC 288 was pretty good. I mean, personally, from betting wise, I didn't do too good, to be honest. I went 6 out of 12. We had two fights that were cancelled that I was very confident on. I did pick Aljamain Sterling to win, and he was able to get the split decision win. And for Bilal versus Gilbert Burns, I mean, Bilal he really put it on Burns in that fight. Good for him. I don't know why I keep doubting Bilal. I don't know what it is. I just feel like I don't like his personality. Maybe that's what it is. But I'm gonna stop doubting this guy. Like, he really impressed me. I know Burns got hurt in that fight after like the second or third round, but it was Bilal's body kicks that were doing most of the damage. I mean, those body kicks were vicious. I mean, those things were hurting Burns. And Burns just didn't look the same after that second round. I mean, and Bilal has really good cardio. And that, what was the third fight? I think it was Evloya versus, no, that was the fifth one, I think. Let me just pull it up here. UFC 288. Yeah, it was Jessica Andrade versus Jan Saunan. I mean, Jessica Andrade's old style brawling just didn't work out for her. Jan just knocked her out in the first round. I mean, Jan's looked really good. I mean, she's been training with Team Alpha Male, and I was watching the interview from Team Alpha Male, and he said that she trains really hard, and you can tell. I mean, she made a lot of improvements. Just knocked her out in the first round, which was crazy. And that Mozart versus Diego fight, I mean, good win for Mozart, but Diego Lopez looked really good. I mean, he took this fight on a couple days' notice, which is crazy. But anyways, good win for Mozart. He really got out of a lot of submissions and everything. So the Kron Gracie versus Charles Jourdain. I don't know why I picked Kron Gracie. This guy just didn't improve on anything. You could tell he looked so damn slow in that fight. Just looked horrible. His only game plan was just to go to the ground somehow and submit him. And I did live bet Charles Jourdain after the first round because I had a feeling Jourdain was gonna be really sweaty, and Kron Gracie wasn't gonna be able to pull any submissions after that first round. But anyways, good win for Charles Jourdain. And let's talk about the preliminary card. Dude Ober got knocked out in the first round by Matt Favola. I did pick Drew Dober because I thought he would have a better chin, but I guess you can only take those bombs for too long. Anyhow, good win for Matt Favola in the first round by knockout. He's on like a 3-fight knockout streak in the first round now. And at the light heavyweight fight between Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Devin Clark. Wow, I mean, this fight was crazy from the start. Devin Clark did hurt him in the first round, but then I feel like Devin Clark gassed himself out trying to finish Kennedy in that first round. And then Kennedy came back in the second round and just choked him out. I mean, Kennedy has really long arms. You don't want to be wrapped up by his arms. You don't want to have your neck wrapped up in his arms. He just choked him out, put him to sleep. That was crazy. And that Chaos Williams versus Ronaldo Bedoya. This was a very close fight, guys. I mean, I thought Chaos Williams was gonna knock him out. But look at this. Ronaldo outstriked him, which was insane. Like, look at this. 71% strikes landed by Ronaldo. But I think two judges gave it to Williams because he was landing the harder bombs, which was really affecting Ronaldo. But he was smiling. I mean, this guy's crazy. I can't wait till his next fight to see who the UFC puts him up with. I think he's gonna have success in the UFC. I mean, This was not easy fight for Ronaldo. Anyways, let's look at the next fight. Marina Rodriguez versus Jandiroba. I really miscalculated Jandiroba's grappling. She just controlled Marina from the start. Marina did have success in the last round, but Verna just took her down and held her. Good win for Jandiroba. She really has to improve on her striking if she wants to have more success. Let's look at the prelims, guys. Parker Porter knocked Braxton Smith out with the ground and pound. And then in this fight, I picked Ikram Aliskerov by submission, but he knocked Phil Haas on the first round on the feet, which is crazy. Ikram Aliskerov is someone to keep your eyes on, guys. Really good win for Ikram Aliskerov. And that first fight on the card was Joseph Holmes versus Claudio Ribeiro. I did pick Claudio Ribeiro by knockout, and he was able to secure that second round knockout. I thought the referee should have stopped the fight in the first round, but I don't know. That referee was really weird. He just seemed like he didn't want to stop the fight and just made Joseph Holmes take really a lot of punishment by Ribeiro. Ribeiro looked pretty damn good. I mean, he had he had some good takedowns in that fight. Took Joseph Holmes down. I mean, didn't really gas out. He did slow down a little bit, but really good win for Ribeiro. I wonder where he goes from here. If they put him up against a grappler or a striker next. Alright guys, let's talk about the next fight card. The first fight on the prelims is Jessica Rose Clark versus Tainara Lisboa. I mean, this fight is really hard to pick for me. This is her Tainara. It's a UFC debut. And Jessica Rose Clark hasn't really looked too good in the UFC. She's got 3 losses in her last 5 fights and 2 wins. And one of those wins were over Jocelyn Edwards, who shouldn't even be in the UFC in my opinion. By decision, and she got a win over Sarah Elfer by knockout. I am gonna go with Jessica Rose Clark, but I would not bet on this fight too, just to be honest. I might take over 1.5 rounds, but I don't know. I'll look at the odds and see what the over 2.5 or 1.5 is and take that instead. But I'm gonna pick Jessica Rose Clark due to her experience at the highest level. She has gone up against some pretty good fighters. Let's look at the next fight, guys. The next fight is Gabe Green versus Brian Battle. Guys, I am gonna go with Brian Battle. Now, Gabe Green has some pretty good wins. He lost to Ian Machado Gary, and then got a knockout win over Johan, where Johan gassed in that fight, I think. Before that, he got a win over Philip Ho. Got a loss to Daniel Rodriguez, who's also fighting on this card. Before that, I got a win at the regional scene by knockout. I just feel like Brian Battle has more tools in this fight, guys. I know he lost to Renat Fakhradinov, who's an absolute monster grappler. But before that fight, I mean, he's got 4 wins in his last 5 fights. He's got a knockout win over Takaso Sato in the first round by a head kick. Decision win over Treson Gore. Before that, I got a win over Gilbert Urbina by a submission. He's got a lot more tools. He is underdog in this fight. I feel like Gabe Green does hit harder. Like, he's got more power in his strikes. But Brian Battle, he's got more tools. That's why I'm going to be taking the underdog in this fight, guys. Let's go to the next fight on the card. Is Ji Yeon Kim versus Mandy Bohum. I'm not really that impressed by Kim. She's got 4 losses in her last 5 fights. I mean, look at this. She's losing by a split. Her last loss was to Jocelyn Edwards, who should not be in the UFC, and neither should Kim, in my opinion. But she still is somehow. Her only win in the last 5 fights was over Nadia Kassem by a body kick knockout. And he's a big favorite in this fight. I mean, wow. How is he such a big favorite? I know this other girl hasn't looked really that good in the UFC either. She's lost to Victoria Leonardo and Adrian Lipsky by unanimous decision. This is really hard fight to pick. I'm gonna just pick Kim just because I have to make the picks here, but not really betting on this fight, guys. Maybe bet over. Yeah, the bet over in this fight is over 2.5 rounds. I don't see either of these girls finishing the fight, and I see this fight going all 3 rounds. Let's move to the next fight on the prelims. Is Natan Levy versus Pete Rodriguez. I already broke this fight down, guys. This fight, I feel like Natan Levy is definitely the better grappler. Does have pretty good jiu-jitsu also, and he's got 4 wins in his last 5 fights. He's got 3 wins in the UFC and 1 loss to Rafa Garcia, who's an absolute monster of a boxer. And Pete Rodriguez's only win in the UFC is over Mike Jackson, who should not even have been in the UFC. Like, I don't know why they put Mike Jackson, up against Pete Rodriguez. I'm gonna be taking Natan Levy like I did in the earlier prediction video. I just feel like he's got the much more tools. If this goes to the ground, he can wrap up Rodriguez's neck. But on the feet, he's gonna have to watch out. He's gonna have to use his footwork and not let Pete Rodriguez catch him with a power strike. So the pick is Natan Levy. The money line is kind of crazy right now. I think Natan Levy is definitely gonna finish this fight. That's why I'm gonna take Natan Levy by submission or by finish. Just take him by finish. Let's go to the next fight on the prelims. Is Carlos Ulberg versus Ihor Potieria. Guys, I am gonna take Carlos Ulberg. He is a big favorite in this fight, minus 300 right now. I just feel like he's the much better. This is a striker's fight, and Potieria has not really impressed me. His only good win in the UFC is over Mauricio Rua, who's way past his prime, and he got a win over Lucas Soldowski at the Contender Series. Lost to Nicole Negumeriano. And this fight is going to stay on the feet. I'm really 100% sure about that. And Ulberg trains with City Kickboxing, which is a really top level strikers camp mostly. And I know they're going to have a really good game plan for him in that fight against Nicole Negumeriano. He really put it on Nicole Negumeriano. Sorry for the name. That's a really hard name to say. Negumeriano. Wow. Yeah, he really from the get-go, he really put it on Nicole, and just knocked him out in the first round with a left hook, and then to the ground and pound. So that was a really good win. And before that, he got a win over Tefan Nichuki by knockout. Has a win over Fabio Cherant, and then his only loss in the UFC, I think, is over to Kennedy Nzechukwu, who's an absolute monster. I mean, Carlos Ulberg was lighting Kennedy up in that fight before he got into that brawl in the last round, I think it was, and then Kennedy caught him with a beautiful left. I think it was a hook. It was a right or left hook, and just put him down. So I don't really hold that loss too much against Ulberg here. He's really improved since then. I don't feel like he's gonna brawl with Ihor. And Ihor is pretty much a brawler. He doesn't really set most of his strikes up. He's gonna just try to brawl, and then he's gonna get knocked out in this fight. I'm gonna go with Carlos Ulberg by knockout. More likely in the first or second round. Alright guys, let's go to the next fight on the prelims. Is Cody Stamann versus Douglas Silva de Andrade. Guys, I am taking Cody Stamann here. He's the better grappler in this fight. He is looking pretty good in his last 2 fights. He's got a knockout win over Eddie Wineland, who's way past his prime. But his last win was over Luan Lacerda by decision. He's got really good wrestling in this fight, and the way De Silva fights is he needs space to set up his striking. I will say that Andrade is the more powerful striker in this fight. That's why the odds are so close. But I feel like Cody Stamann is not gonna give him that chance to land his bomb. So I'm gonna take by Cody by decision here, guys. Let's go to the next fight on the prelims. It's Carl Williams versus Chase Sherman. Guys, I am taking Carl Williams in this fight. I don't feel like Chase has anything for him this fight. He's 1-5 in his last 5 wins. 5 fights. And his only win was over Jared Vanderaa, in which Jared Vanderaa looked horrible. Look at this. Carl Williams is looking better and better in every fight. He got a win over Luka Bajewski just like a month and a half ago. Got a win over Jimmy Lawson at Contender Series. He's a much better grappler in this fight. I feel like the money line is just way too crazy right now. He's a minus 400 or 500 favorite. But I feel like Carl Williams has like a 90% chance to win this fight, guys. That's why I'm going with Carl Williams by decision or money line. I think money line is the safer play, but it is kind of crazy. This is a heavyweight fight. Anything can happen, but I'm really confident in Carl Williams here. Let's go to the next fight on the prelims. Is Matt Brown versus Court McGee. Guys, I am gonna go with Matt Brown. I know he is 42 years old, and he's coming off a split decision loss to Brian Barberena, in which Matt Brown really did look pretty damn good in that fight. And before that, he got a win over Diego Lima by knockout. Lost to Carlos Condit, and before that, lost to Miguel Baeza. Miguel Baeza had a really good fight against Chaos Williams, but he got knocked out in that last fight. Got a knockout win over Ben Saunders. The reason I'm going with Matt Brown in this fight is because Court McGee is coming off a knockout loss to Jeremiah Wells. That's why I'm taking Matt Brown. McGee is also 38 years old, so he's up there in age. I feel like Court McGee is gonna have a hard time taking Matt Brown down, and Matt Brown is a dog. Like, he's not gonna stop. He's gonna put the pace on Court McGee, and I feel like just take the money line, Matt Brown money line. I'm gonna be betting Matt Brown money line in this fight. He does finish most of his fights. He's got like a 70-something finish rate by knockout. So if you want to make the prop, go with the juicy prop. It is Matt Brown by knockout. I don't know how Court McGee is going to look after that knockout loss to Jeremiah Wells. He got slept in that fight. So the pick here is Matt Brown, the underdog. Let's go to the main card now, guys. The main card, the first fight on the main card. Before I talk about the first fight, guys, please hit the like button and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 50 subscribers, and the goal is to get to 100. I will keep pumping out the content, guys. So let's move to the next fight on the main card, guys. The first fight on the main card. The first fight on the main card is Tim Means going up against Alex Morono. The nicknames is kind of crazy. The Dirty Bird versus the Great White Shark. The Great White. Tim Means is coming off 2 losses in a row. One of them to Kevin Holland by submission, and the other one to Max Griffin by split decision. The reason I'm taking Alex Morono is he's looking really good against these high-level fighters, In his last fight, he got caught with a beautiful overhand right. Santiago was getting lit up by Alex Morono. And Alex Morono takes most of these fights on short notice. I mean, this guy, most of the wins he's got in his last 5 fights were mostly like he took the fight on like a couple days notice or like a week or 2 notice. So he hasn't even really had camps for this fight. I think this fight he does have a camp for this fight. He does train at Gracie for Fortis MMA and the Gracie bar at the Woodlands. Tim Means trains at Fit NHB. I haven't heard of that before. And great, Alex Morono is the moderate favorite here. I just feel like Tim Means being 30, almost 40 years old, and Alex Morono having really good wins over these Matt Samuelsberger, who looked really good against Jeremiah Wells. Got a win over Mickey Gall, win over David Javaba, and knockout over Donald Cerrone. Yeah, so I'm definitely taking Alex Morono, guys. Alex Morono, but money line is a safer play here, I would say. But I feel like he's gonna win this fight by I don't know. I want to see what the finish prop is on Alex Morono. But I will definitely say the money line is the safer play because anything can happen. Tim Means is very durable. He is tough as fuck. But Alex Morono is going to put it on him. So take Alex Morono by money line. Let's move to the next fight on the main card is Mackenzie Dern versus Angela Hill, guys. Angela Hill is 38 years old, almost 39. And Mackenzie Dern is 30 years old. Angela Hill has been looking pretty damn good in the last 2 fights. He got a decision win over Lupi Godinez. That was a pretty damn close fight. And then he got a win over Emily Decode. That's a pretty good win to have. I just feel like the age, her being almost 40 years old, and the grappling also, Mackenzie Dern has pretty good grappling also. Her jiu-jitsu is pretty high level. She got a submission armbar over Nina Nunes. And she got a unanimous decision win over Verna Jandiroba, who looked really damn good yesterday over Marina Rodriguez. So, I mean, her grappling is pretty damn good. So that's why I'm taking Mackenzie Dern moneyline here, guys. I definitely see this fight going all 3 rounds. So I think Mackenzie Dern by decision is the play here. Let's move to the next fight on the main card, which is Daniel D. Rodriguez versus Ian the Future Machado Gary. Wow, Ian is a big favorite in this fight. I mean, Daniel Rodriguez is coming off a loss by finish to Neil Magny. He looks pretty damn good in those first 3 rounds, but in the last round he got submitted by Neil Magny by a Darce choke. I mean, this definitely won't be an easy fight for Ian Gary. Ian Gary did get dropped by Kenan Song. The reason he got dropped is because he does leave his head up high when he goes to land his own combinations. And this fight is definitely going to stay on the feet, guys. And Daniel Rodriguez does have pretty good power, and his striking is pretty damn good. He does have a pretty split decision win over Jingliang Li. This fight is really hard, man. I want to go with the undefeated fighter, but I don't know. I don't want to sleep on Daniel Rodriguez here. I definitely see this fight going over to decision. So I feel like fight to go the distance is the play here. I am gonna go with Ian Gary. I feel like he is improving more than Daniel Rodriguez, who is 36 years old right now. The pick is Ian Gary, but the bet definitely is over 2.5 rounds, guys. Let's go to the next fight on the card. The co-main event of the evening is Anthony Smith versus Johnny Walker. Anthony Smith is coming off a loss to Magomed Ankalaev, who just fought for the belt, and the fight ended up in a draw. I did think Magomed did enough to win the fight, but I guess the judges didn't. Anyhow, he is going to be taking Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker has been looking pretty damn good. He's got 3 wins in his last 5 fights. And he's got a knockout win over Paul Craig in the first round, where Paul Craig was holding his leg and just left his head wide open, and Johnny Walker just landed those crazy hammer fists, just put him down and put him out. That fight, that was kind of crazy, because Paul Craig, even when he was getting lit up, he just didn't let go of the leg. I don't know what the hell he was doing. Maybe he was concussed or something. That's why he just kept holding that leg and letting Johnny Walker land those hammer fists. But anyhow, Johnny Walker got a submission win over Ian Cutelaba. Lost to the champion Jamal Hill by knockout. And then lost by decision to Santos. Got a knockout win over Ryan Spann. I mean, this fight is really hard to pick, and the odds are, you can tell the odds are really close too. Johnny Walker is the slight favorite in this fight. The power edge I will definitely give to Johnny Walker. And the age also, he is a younger fighter at 31 years old. He is going to have a height advantage over Anthony Lionheart Smith. And the reach is crazy too. I mean, I'm like 6 inches reach over Anthony Smith. I was gonna go with Anthony Smith first, because I feel like he is a more well-rounded fighter. But he has taken a lot of damage in his career, so I don't know how he's gonna look. He's got almost like 53 fights in his career, which is insane. Anthony Smith has fought the better competition, so I will say that. But I feel like Johnny Walker is coming into his own, and he is gonna land one of those bombs. Yeah, the pick definitely is Johnny Walker. I feel like his range and his power is gonna give Anthony Smith something to think about. So take Johnny Walker by a knockout. I will say Anthony Smith is very tough and durable, but you can't eat too many of those big bombs by Johnny Walker. So the pick definitely is Johnny Walker, guys. Let's go to the next fight on the card. For the co-main event, the best bet here is fight does not go the distance. I definitely see Johnny Walker finishing Lionheart Smith, or Smith finishing Johnny Walker on the ground. So let's go to the next fight, which is the main event of the evening, where we have Argentinian Rozenstruik versus Jailton Almeida. Wow, Jailton is a big favorite in this fight, minus 550, even minus 600 at some bookies right now. Jorginho is coming off a really good win over Chris Daukaus by knockout. This fight, I know I'm gonna be taking Jailton Almeida. If he is able to get those takedowns, which I definitely think he is gonna be able to do, the fight's gonna be over. He's gonna land those beautiful ground and pound on Rozenstruik and just finish the fight. Or if he's not able to get the takedown, I feel like Biggie Boy is gonna land those big bombs. Biggie Boy is definitely the better kickboxer by a mile, but I definitely see Jailton taking him down and just finishing the fight. So that's it for this fight, guys. or if you don't want to bet the money line by Jonathan Almeida, maybe bet under 2.5 rounds. I just don't see this fight going over 2.5 rounds, guys. Alright, guys, let's go. So that's it for this card, guys. I will be making more best bets and most likely underdogs to win. So please subscribe and hit the like button. Leave a comment of what you think, who you're gonna be going with. And that's it for me, guys. I hope you guys have a really good week and enjoy the fights. See you guys next time.